Galnet News Update, 21st of September 3308.
The Order of the Thargoid is under scrutiny by the Federation for its possible work aiding and abetting the Thargoid invaders. Although theoretically protected under federal law, which guarantees freedom of religious expression, the majority of federal lawmakers and a huge portion of the population interpret this to mean freedom of religious expression as long as we agree with it. 4 years ago, in 3304, Juanita Bishop narrowly missed being elected to Congress on a Hang the Thargoids ticket. And it was only when biased reporting using actual facts by Gethin Okonkwo, who had lived undercover with the Thargoid cultists in Etain, showed the cult members to be allegedly harmless, that the torches and pitchforks were put away and they were allowed back into their smelly black hive chapels to fatalistically await the destruction of the universe. With the Thargoid cultists now daring to come back out of their hive chapels and to join the new True Chapter sect, a branch of the religion that outrageously believes that instead of turning the other cheek, minorities should be allowed to fight to defend themselves when attacked, the people, state and government of the Federation is reassessing just how harmless the Thargoid cult really is. Naval intelligence is actively investigating whether members of the True Chapters are secretly working for the Thargoids, sabotaging anti-Xenu operations in the recently attacked systems. Hive chapels have once again become focal points for those wanting to get their revenge on the Thargoids. As local law enforcement generally believes the cultists are pro-Thargoid, they rarely attempt to protect adherents to the faith. This persecution is said to be driving more and more Thargoid cultists to show their true colours and join the True Chapters, which in turn demonstrates that the persecution is justified. So far, the True Chapters, described by Secretary of State Lana Berkovich as crazed alien sympathisers, have not fought back against the federal mobs. Of course, they've probably been too busy sabotaging anti-Xenu activities, so perhaps they haven't had time yet. But they say they want to have the chance to live long enough to see their deity wreck the universe. So there seems to be a growing likelihood that they will strike back, possibly very soon, and if they do, this will of course further justify the Federation's belief that they're dangerous. There's so far been very little scrutiny of the other pro-Thargoid organisation, the Thargoid Advocacy Project, which has been advocating peace talks with the Thargoids. But then, they're not religious weirdos, are they?
There are signs of discord in the Empire too, in what might be seen as an act of sedition. The prismatic princess has spoken out against the Emperor's clear policy decision and has incurred the wrath of her former ally, the one-time pretender to the throne, Hadrian Duval. Princess Aisling takes issue with the Emperor's decision that Imperial forces should be used exclusively to defend Imperial citizens. Her argument is that those who died in HIP 22460 trying to help Salvation build his completely rubbish death ray were working together in coalition. Yes, brave Imperial militiamen died, but so did brave Federal and Alliance militiamen. No brave Sirius Corporation militiamen died, of course, but that's another matter. Aisling asserts that in order that they did not die in vain, the campaign against the Thargoids must continue to be waged in a similar spirit, with humanity united against the horrid aliens that just aren't like us. Aisling says that the Emperor's changed Imperial policy out of embarrassment, with the Imperial Navy wrong-footed and without any viable way of protecting the Empire against the new, bigger, meaner and blue-greener Thargoids of HIP 22460. Naturally enough, Hadrian Duval, who used to head up isolationist movement Nova Imperium, is all for the Emperor's isolationist plans and has offered Arissa his wholehearted support, pausing only briefly to point out that it was his policy long before it was hers. The Emperor may need to do a bit of smiting to keep her relatives in line.